What is up? We are here in the Clerks universe, apparently. I was watching that movie again just this afternoon, and it's got a lot of problems. I'm not gonna lie. The movie, if it was made now, would have Twitter would be very angry about it. It's got a lot of problems, especially with how it treats female characters within that film. Also, these guys, Randall's okay. Dante's horrible. Like, kind of, but I think that might be the message of the movie, is that Dante's horrible. That might just be the thing. I don't know. But I rewatched it today because it's like leaving Netflix this week or today even. I'm not even sure. So I was like, give it a rewatch. The overall message of the film I thought was pretty great and applicable to comics and applicable to like kind of some shit that I'm going through right now, which is just get up off of your ass and like do it. This is Clerks. This is the first Clerks that Kevin Smith made. So yeah, the idea, like the whole core of the movie really is Dante realizing that he's being so indecisive and he feels like he's stuck like so hard that he never makes a move, that he's like convinced himself that he's like not capable of like going back to school or like bettering himself in any way, or like that he just like is kind of going with he's never making a choice essentially. And sometimes I get like that. Sometimes you guys probably get like that. I think that's pretty universal. We could pop into what we're working on. Oh, we're not going to pop into what we're working on. Good luck. There we go. There we go. Thank you, Photoshop. This is Greg Capullo's Court of Owls page. This is from the first issue of Court of Owls. This is page 4. Batman, Arkham City, Arkham Asylum. But yeah, I was watching that movie and let's figure out what we're doing down here. So this is Mr. Freeze down here. So let's kind of fix him up a little. I don't think we're gonna have to do this for many of these characters. I don't know who this is, but I don't think it's Robin? ? Maybe this was something that like I needed to figure out. Oh yeah, Kevin Smith film. You should watch that one. Used to work at a Blockbuster for almost 4 years. I think that you would relate to it a bit. There's a lot of moments in there too where like it's one of those movies that like I had watched when I was a kid, when I was like in high school. This is the same of God, what's that John Cusack movie where he lists top 5 things? High Fidelity. When I was in school, or when I was in like high school and I watched High Fidelity and I watched Clerks, I was like, oh, these guys are so cool. These guys get it. Like, you know, I didn't realize like that they were being like selfish pricks, basically. Yeah, High Fidelity. That like through the movie, they're just like using all the people around them. When I was in high school, I didn't have the life experience to like be able to like identify that. I just saw like, hey, I like music and these guys like music and like, you know, we got similar interests. Let's hang out. Like that was my entire like mode of thought. Thank you, Lookouts Girl. High Society member for 4 months now. Look at that. Everything you own is now gold plated. You are a member of the Comic Book Coloring Society and a member of High Society. Once you get to a full year, then it turns into solid gold. Everything. Your parents, your dog, your house, your car, your bars of gold will turn to solid gold. Everything. That's the incentive. that I can promise you. uh, but yeah, it's one of those movies that I watched as a kid one way and then grew up and then watched like with a little bit of life experience, a little bit of a like seasoned adult. Not that I'm like a great at being an adult, but like, yeah, you're looking forward to it. And it registered in like a totally different way. I'm gonna try to finish this coffee. We're gonna finish this coffee. Let's chill. Let's chill and finish this coffee. Um, but yeah, man, when I was watching it, I was like, so many of the things that are going on in this with like Randall feeling stuck and like he can't go. Like, whenever you see someone who's like successful, it's easy to be like, oh well, they did something that like I can't do. You see what you mean about those two films? Really love Jack Black doing small characters in that one. Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, they're still good movies. They're just like not as great as I thought when I was a kid, you know? They're different now that I'm an adult. But yeah, I feel like every successful person has had like moments of doubt like that. Like, the measure of yourself and what you are capable of is not in the moment of doubt. It's about like how you push that doubt down and how you push it aside, and like how you essentially decide to just be like, well, like I don't know about you guys. I'm highly motivated by spite. If somebody tells me I can't do something, then like that really motivates me to do that thing. I don't know if it's like I'm supposed to think that way or whatever, but like if it's just like I'm working on some pages, and it's hard for me to stay motivated and on task with those pages because it's a little bit out of my comfort zone, and like the first one came out pretty good, and like I'm like, oh well, like I've proved it to myself that I'm like capable of doing it, you know. So I'm like, I guess we're done here, and I'm trying to get motivated to like keep going, but there's no one in my life that's like, dude, breaking into comics is impossible. There's nobody in my life being like, you can never do, like, you're gonna do that. No, you might as well just stop and do something. Like, I don't have any of that anymore in my life, so I'm just kind of like, I guess I'll just do the next page. I don't know. Is the mic a little loud? It looks like it's peaking in the red. Maybe not. Yeah, so my advice to you guys, and if you go back and watch these movies, is that like you can do the things you want to do. Like there's nothing in your way. Just get motivated by the spite. That's what I'm saying. All right. Let's put the coffee down in Randall's lap. Let's get motivated. Spite coloring. Yes. This is, well, I feel like it's anything with me. Like I don't know if this is like me being maybe a little bit damaged as a person. You know, we all have these like flaws and tweaks in our brain that like motivate us in particular ways. But I always felt like the second, like I played a lot of soccer as a kid, and I really liked it. We're gonna by the way start putting down shadows because I just want to figure out where the cuts are for everything, and then we're gonna throw down shadow and see where we're at. So I've selected the entire canvas. I'm selecting the magic wand. I've turned off the anti-alias that I was using before, so I don't goof it. And then I'm just going to be cutting out like the light parts basically. So, and then from there we're going to figure out color schemes. So yeah, when I was a kid, I played a good bit of soccer, and I really enjoyed it. And uh, when it started getting competitive, I have like a vivid memory of this in like I think like middle school. It started getting competitive, and hey, thank you for the brand new subscription. You've given Boix. Thank you for the gift of high society. D outro. You're everything you own is solid gold plated. You are in the comic book coloring high society. Welcome. Boix, you are too kind. So yeah, I once it got competitive, it was like, well, you got to try out. And then I was told, like, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, like, and I had a coach be like, Nick, you should really try out. You're pretty good. Like, you'll get on the team. Just like, come try out. And it went from normal weather day to polar vortex very fast in Philly. It's kind of done that here in Florida. I have socks on, which is weird for this time of year. Not exactly polar. Excuse me. Not exactly polar vortex, but yeah. And it was like, as soon as that authority figure knew that I was capable of being on the team, I didn't want to be on the team anymore. I was just like, well, I don't know. What's the point? I already have your like, attention and praise. Like, why would I put my time into this? Like, and then beyond that, it was like, well, if we're going to get like super serious and you're going to yell at me, I don't know. I don't really want that. But if he was like, competition's fierce, I just don't know if you have what it takes, I'd be like, I'm going to make you eat those words. Some film director once said, I see some films during all my life. Every time it seems different, but the movie hasn't changed. It was me. Yeah, it definitely applies. It's like when you hear Every Breath You Take and you notice it's about a stalker. Yeah. But yeah, I when I was a kid and I had kind of like been like, okay, well, I'm gonna start working in comics, and then like everybody was like, ugh, it's so like, once I started like kind of investing myself in it, you went to a coffee shop to work and suddenly you looked up and it was gone from clear to snow blowing everywhere. Ugh. Once once I like kind of invested a little bit of time into it, I like to draw, and I was like, well, this is like fun and challenging and interesting to me, and I like these characters, and like, you know, maybe I could see having a job here, and I started going to school for it, and then all I did was hear like, oh, it's so hard, it's like you can't do it. I don't care to join any club that would have me as a member. Yes, exactly. Like all that stuff. Like once I was in, you legit got kicked off of basketball in middle school for flipping off your coach during practice. Turns out your vision was going bad. But he just wanted to yell at you. Got glasses, then never went back. Yeah. Yeah. There was something about like, once I like decided I'm gonna make a career out of art, and then everybody was like, well, artists don't make any money, artists are flighty, you don't want to be an artist, blah 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 blah. Like once all of that wave started hitting me, it was just fuel. It was just like, I'm just gonna make you all eat your words. I'm just gonna try to be as successful as possible and do everything I can to get there. Spite is a very, very motivating thing for me. And so I'm trying to find that same motivation with these pages without spite, and it's proving a little bit difficult. I also gotta like kind of hack my brain to be like I always want to kind of like prove it kind of thing. Like I have like a good idea of like what I'm capable of. And I think there's like I have to get my brain on board with like, okay, like okay, brain, you and me. I know that we know that we're capable of XYZ. Like we know that we're capable of putting out a mini this year, but like nobody else does. And like we got to get everybody on board with this. So maybe we should do that. Like maybe we should stop oh my god, my doorbell's ringing. I'll be right back. I'm glad you guys are still here and that you didn't slowly take over the stream, change my Twitch key and then start streaming yourself on my stream. That would have been, if I had to like, you know, hostile take over the stream back from you guys, that would have been rough. That would have been rough. So I just lately next time. So I don't know. I've been personally struggling with making art lately, and I think that it's because I had a good track record for the month. Like I had like a solid 2 weeks where I only missed 2 days. Like I hit 12 of 14 and I was like, well, I could take a couple of days off. And then it was like, I wasn't doing anything. And then I had like these pages I wanted to draw and I was like, well, that's hard. And, I've already kind of proved that I could still do pages because I drew the other one. And like, it was just like, I don't know. Spite is good to get you started, but eventually you're like, why are you doing this? So you think deadlines and responsibilities push you more? Also, rewards like money is nice. Yes. Also, hi, it's been a minute. Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Deadlines and rewards are also pretty critical. That's the other thing is like, I'm doing this for me. When it's tougher, I feel like to do things for you when there's no like financial incentive, when it's like let me be real with you. Like it's easier for me to just play Battle Chef. We got one more chapter left. I want to get that done. But like I also have to like do this other thing because I want to better myself. And so it requires like discipline and like focus. And those things are tough. Those things are not easy to do. For me anyway. But like the alternative is like, I don't make anything. And like, I don't want that alternative anymore. Like I did that alternative for years, like just doing coloring. And so I'd like to break out of that. So I'm trying to like tell myself these things when I wake up in the morning and be like, okay, let's like get some stuff done. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, the other thing that I've been thinking about lately is like how the world perceives artists. We had today linked in the chat a podcast by a couple of guys, some YouTubers, and like it started out innocently enough. They were talking about what we were talking about last stream when we were doing this art. If you're watching only the art streams, last stream we were talking about how like you guys got to get paid out there and you are the talent and you deserve to get paid. And if you're not getting paid, you can make money in other places and blah, 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 blah. We won't jump back into that, but they were talking about like people getting paid, and comic companies holding up their end of the deal, which like struck me as kind of weird because like they're like a fan podcast about comics, and like I don't know that they necessarily talk about making comics a lot, but this is the first one that I saw, and I could be wrong. Maybe they talk about making comics a lot, but like I've never seen them at shows. I don't know that they're industry professionals. I don't even know if they got a dog in this fight, or that's a terrible analogy because dog fighting shouldn't be a thing. But a horse in this race, how about that? But also horse racing is bad. They do terrible things to their bones. Don't think about that, chat. We're positive here. But yeah, I was kind of like, I don't know why you guys are talking about this. And then it started from like, basic things like you should get a contract. You should make people adhere to the contract, blah, blah, blah. And then they started like launching into like a lot that I had a vehemently disagree with. So much so that I was like playing the podcast in one room. I walked into the other room to go to like fix myself some lunch or whatever, and I'm like listening. It's like loud enough for me to hear. And like they said now artists are not businessmen. And I yelled from the other room, "Oh, fuck off." Like the idea that like comics are not part of like artists do not understand business enough, and that like comics just come out as like this expression of like emotion that the artist feels like when they want to is like fucking crazy to me. And they went on to just be like, hold on, I gotta text Shannon. Man, this stream, we're loose this stream. We're having a ongoing saga of our trunk was taking on a little bit of water, and we brought it back to the dealership to seal it. And then because it's so cold, the sealant isn't drying. So like they'll do a water test. This is, you guys don't care. Why am I even telling you this? But they went on to like expand upon this and tell you that like artists don't make any money in comics, that there's no money in comics for the artist, and that that's the reason why artists do commissions, because like they basically can't make ends meet unless they're doing commissions, which is like buck wild insane. Like I can't imagine any artist out there is like, well, if I don't do commissions, then like I can't make ends meet. Like that's madness to me. Commissions are gravy. It's crazy how much people still have such a mysticism about art and artists, and it isn't magic people or shit. It's hard work. Yeah. So like they're like, artists aren't business people, but then they're like, also there's no money in comics, and artists know that, so then they make the good business decision of like going to shows and doing commissions. And I was just like, what is this podcast? What have we turned into? I don't know, man. Like maybe it's just like this is how they interact with things. And then like they went on to say that like I guess one of the guys had put together a comic, kickstarted it or whatever, and the first artist he hired like flaked out on him, which sucks. Like he gave him money and then the dude like left. They think there's a button on Photoshop like impress this client. Yeah, it's like saying magic artists make all their money signing cards at the tournament. Yeah, I know, it's total madness. Like Sean Murphy doesn't, like I saw on his Twitter feed today, he doesn't do commissions anymore. Like, if you think Sean's not making any money, you are out of your mind. Like, it's total, and like, here's the thing is I'm a colorist. Like, well, I'm doing art too now, but like, my front face, my forward facing to the audience at large is what we're doing right now. Photoshop. I hate doing Photoshop commissions. It's just like, or sorry, not Photoshop commissions. regular marker commissions. That's like a thing in comics where people will bring a piece of art that an artist did, and you do marker renderings on top of it to make like a final artistic thing. I kind of hate doing it because it puts a lot of pressure on you. Like if it's a really great piece and you screw it up, like trying something out, that's on you. And the guy's like, it's like saying like double or nothing on your commission. And the other thing is like, I work in Photoshop all day. It'd be like, I don't know, somebody who exclusively works in marker, or and not in marker, but like, because I don't think that maybe that job exists. I don't know if that job exists. Somebody who works in markers all day be like, hey, can you Photoshop me something? It's like, it's another skill set. And like, I know that some colorists like Matt Wilson really love like digging into it, but like, it's just like not where I want to put my time, energy, or thought. And so I don't do a whole lot of them, to say the least. I kind of don't really advertise it. The only time I do them is around heroes. I've done a lot of them that I'm like really happy with, that I was really excited about. I don't think I've ever done one that I've been like, well, I hate this. Like that's never happened, but it's still like isn't. This is a long-winded thing to say that like I'm not really doing commissions at shows, and the idea that like artists are there doing commissions so that because the show isn't paying them anything. Sometimes artists are doing the show out of pocket entirely. I do most shows out of pocket entirely, meaning I'm flying there and I'm paying for the table and I'm paying for the hotel, and like the whole reason that I like try to sell anything at conventions, like anything at all, is to just like slow the bleed down, to try to do just do all the commissions, give it to you. But as Garbage Pail Kids, yes, everyone wins. Like it's basically like a slow bleed for me. I don't I do that so that I can do more shows in the year, and also not be bankrupt. So I'm talking, and I had this. See this pigman over here? I was like doing shadows, and I was like, I didn't realize I just made this giant cut right out of the pigman right there. I gotta focus up. You know, people that like to add colors in watercolor, if they know how to do that, and that's cool. But it still feels weird. Like you just want individual commissions from each artist. Mark Brooks doing trad coloring on conventions is really black magic. That man is a monster. Yeah. Yeah, I like full respect for any colorist who's doing it. And I get it. It's like you like a colorist, you treat them as an artist, you want a commission from them because you're a collector. Like I get it, but it's just like, I don't know. Like I do them reluctantly, and I only do small pieces. Because I don't know. I get too in my own head when it's like a giant piece about like what I want to do with it and what my expectations are. So I don't do a whole lot of giant pieces. But anyway, the point is that like, so I try to slow the bleed. And not only that, but like I also try to put on the stuff on the table that maybe a fan hasn't seen before. So that way they can maybe get something kind of unique. Like I'm basically, the entire time I'm at the booth, my whole booth is constructed for like your best experience as like a viewer. Like I want to provide something that maybe you haven't heard of before. I carry books that I'm proud of. I want to bring you things that maybe you haven't seen before. I want to sell more Heartthrob, but the problem that I have is that Chris and Robert both do a ton of conventions, and mostly people buy from Chris and Robert, which is fine. But like, I feel like I always bring a stack of Heartthrob and then sell like 2 because they're busy moving them to people who want them. Anyway, Chris and Robert, other artists. All this to say, these guys think that artists are having their head down working on these commissions because this is the only way they can make ends meet financially, and that isn't really the truth. And the reason that they're working on the commissions during the show, to be honest, I've never heard of this trash podcast content. I used to hear Sidebar Cast is a great way to hear people passionate about their work. I gotta check that out. Sidebar Cast. These guys, I don't think that this was like a trash podcast, by the way. I don't want to put that out there. I think that these guys are just like a little bit misinformed. They're fans. They're like, they're getting pieces of information here and there through the the web or whatever, or anecdotally, and they're like trying to piece it together, and they think they know what's going on, which maybe they don't. I don't think it's any strike against them. But at any rate, the reason that artists are like head down working is because these artists, like, if you guys go to a con, and you're an aspiring artist, like, soak it in. Like, you're never going to be around so many like-minded, artistic, creative people as you are at a convention. And like, you never get to like hang, like, this is the thing, is like, the artists have their head down and they're working at the show because they want to get that commission done for somebody to slow the bleed, or maybe make a little bit of profit, like a little bit extra. But like, they also just want to get it done so that they can hang out with other artists after the show, because they want to socialize. They want to like pick each other's brains about things. They want to like swap techniques. They're friends and they don't see each other regularly, like, that's what's really going on. I don't know. It was just such a like weird thing to hear. And then to hear that like artists are also not businessmen. It's like, dude, if artists weren't businessmen, if they were just like whatever the typical artist out there of like, oh, I'm going to work when it moves me, like that kind of artist that like the media loves to portray. If it was that, you'd get like 3 comics a month between the big two. It's like, you only do Heroes, so you only see Friends once a year. I didn't know that you only did Heroes, Ron. Artist person strikes again. Yeah. I didn't know that. Maybe it's because I do Heroes every year, and it's like one of the handful of shows that I do, but I just assumed you were doing other shows. Well, we got to spend more time together at Heroes, because apparently that's the only one you do. The only real artists paint with their finger paints? Yeah. They're not online anymore. They were active. Oh, okay. They do like 400 episodes. Oh, they did interviews Bernie Wrightson, Adam Hughes, Ryan Sook. Oh, that's great. I'll have to dig those up if they're still out there somewhere. But yeah, man, I just like, I advocated this in the last stream, but like, you gotta run your shit like a business. Like, if you're an artist and you think that that's the way the world works, that like someone's just gonna come along and offer you money for a painting and you just don't have to do anything and you just sit at home and you draw and paint when like the moment suits you or whatever, like, let me tell you, you're not gonna pay any bills. B, you're not gonna make any art. C, like, you're never gonna make, like, I don't know, you're never gonna have anything published. It's just like, it's madness. It's ludicrous. You put the link in the Discord? Cool. Yeah, I just, man, it drives me up the wall, that like stereotype. Between that stereotype and like the best recipe success is marry well. That's the only way to really lock it in. Yeah, if If I married into money, then I'd probably be working on less books. That's for sure. Uh, but yeah, I wouldn't be running my business very well if I married into money because it wouldn't matter. I'd just do whatever. Uh, but yeah, between like the artist stereotype and the terrible geek show about middle-aged Sheldon, not young Sheldon, mind you, middle-aged Sheldon. Shit, I forgot what that show is called. You gotta grab a late lunch. All right, boys. Thanks for hanging out. I totally forgot what that show was called, but I feel like the way they portray Big Bang Theory, yeah, the way they portray like nerd culture as this like frothing at the mouth, a socially awkward kind of like bullshit. And like, I'm not saying that like if you're socially awkward you can't be a nerd, or that, you know, whatever, if you're socially awkward you're somehow less than. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that like this is the stereotype, and it's ridiculous because there are some of my friends who are very social, very interesting people who are very smart and nerdy and like are normal human beings, and it drives me crazy. That is two men and a baby Sheldon. Yeah, tell me about it. Okay. What I'm really waiting for is old man Sheldon. That's what I'm waiting for. We got Wolverine Origins, we got Wolverine, and we got Old Man Logan. We have young Sheldon. We have Big Bang Theory. Question mark? Anyway, the point is that like I feel like both of these stereotypes are directly like impacting the medium that I work in, as far as like what people think that I do, what like we do, what you know, like people in comics do, and it drives me up the wall. I can't tell you how many like kind of just like regular people I've met who don't really have any you know, just like they're not really like keyed into comics or anything like that. They're just like, oh, they see the occasional Marvel movie or whatever. I tell them what I do, and they're like, oh, like Big Bang Theory. And I'm just like, I guess. Sure. I don't know. It drives me nuts. I'm like, no, I'm a functional human being. This is why whenever anyone generalizes anything, and I know that we just generalized very much in the positive light, for artists, as far as like artists being businessmen and like, you know, master their own destiny and blah 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 blah. But when people generalize, it like drives me up the wall. It makes me like thinking about, yeah, oh, you're an artist, and what do you do to get money? I've talked about this before on stream. I was at this like fancy beer garden on the lawn thing in this like small town where like the whole town comes out. It's a lot of like hippie-ish kinds of people. And this woman came up to me and she was like, oh, I heard that, cause everybody's in everybody else's business is there. And we had family there. And she was like, oh, I heard that you are an artist. And I said, yeah. And then she was like, what's your medium? And I was like, oh, you're not going to like where this goes. And I told her what I did, and she was like, oh, and walked away. So I was like, oh, you don't think I'm a real artist? Okay. Well, whatever. I don't got to impress you. Or I do. I got to spite motivate myself. But yeah, it drives me nuts. I will say too that like how much the Big Bang Theory, like, full disclosure, chat, and let's just think on this for a second. I don't mean to alarm you. Yeah, what's your medium? Yeah, that's such a loaded. When somebody asks you that, you're like, this ain't gonna go well. um, I don't mean to alarm you, chat, but I have something to confess. If your medium was garbage, yeah, yeah. I have something to confess. I am a straight white male. It's true. It's true. No, no, no. It's fine. It's fine. We all are what we are. But one of the things that puts, and I'm gonna get. I guess this is. You should have said pixels. Yeah. Um. Like gasps. Yeah. Um. And I guess this is like semi-political now. We're rounding out to like basically don't be a dick. But like if you are also a straight white male out there and you are sick of the Big Bang Theory like stereotype or the artist stereotype, but you are also thinking to yourself all these terrible stereotypes about people of color or different sexual orientations or whatever, you should just for a moment think like the Big Bang Theory stereotype is so small compared to the systemic racism stereotype, which is so much bigger. And maybe just love everyone. Maybe just hug your brother, your fellow man, and get the fuck over it. Like if the Big Bang Theory stereotype drives you crazy, just think about what everybody else has to deal with. Ugh. The world is sometimes terrible. Yeah, I was actually the other day thinking about how much Big Bang Theory like drives me crazy, and clearly because I'm talking about it, and I was like, oh shit, like I've never been negative to anyone or like I'm not shitty that way, but like I can imagine that a lot of people have to deal with, a lot of people of color have to deal with a lot of bullshit. A lot of bullshit. If like the Big Bang Theory is driving me nuts, I can't imagine how they feel. Because that's like a drop in the bucket. Ugh. Anyway. We're moving right along. We're doing like most of the figure work. I cut this part out in the middle because it's like basically we're gonna like kind of do a burst here, so we don't need to mess with that. I gotta get in on this smoke, but I think we're gonna deselect it and reselect it, because I think that's like gonna be the easiest way to do it. I might just straight up paint it. We'll find out. Are these guys? I couldn't figure out if these guys are in some kind of like prison uniform. Also, probably the ventriloquist guy is like a sock. The ventriloquist dummy. So we're going to make him white. Because he's probably just like a regular sock. This is like super sloppy. Don't do this in real life. But on stream it's fine. Yeah. So, yeah, those things were driving me nuts today. But other than that, it's been pretty good. I actually just finished a project that was taking me forever. I've been kind of like working on it off and on in a way where I was working on it off and on, and the off was so off that like I would go back to it and then be like, oh, I'm better now. Now I have to correct these 5 pages. And then I would be off for a while, and then I'd get to 10 pages, and I'd be like, oh, I'm better now. I got to correct these 10 pages. So I think I just made like a ton more work for myself, but I was happy with the end product. It's unannounced, so I can't really talk about it. But when I am able to talk about it, I will tell you guys about all that stuff. Yeah. We are at the tail end of Battle Chef Brigade on the gaming side of this Twitch stream. I'm super stoked about it. We're gonna finish it on stream. We're in the last chapter. It's gonna be like one of the first games I finished on stream, rather than just like sampling and then like realizing it's not for me and then moving on. So like I'm very excited about that. Also, all the characters are great and all the art is so good in that game. If you guys are into art in general, you were thinking about this the other day, but the Van Gogh stereotype image on pop culture, there's dozens of Van Gogh biographies, and the man was a genius, but it tells a lot about what art means and what people used to think about him instantly. Yeah, yeah. Well, and the thing is too is like when you think about like Van Gogh as an artist too, like dude died penniless. He didn't have that hustle. Like there's something. So I was talking about like how to make it, basically, like how to find where you should be as an artist, how to like value yourself in the last stream, about how like I think that if you are an artist and somebody's not paying you, you can walk away and like work on all this other stuff that may pay. And I missed this moment. Because I was like all fired up about it. I missed my Tony Stark built it in a cave with a bunch of scraps moment, which was like when you're looking for alternative incomes, when you're looking for hustle, when you're looking for to sell your art, like there is the Van Gogh, I'll paint when it comes to me, and then I'll die penniless. And then there's also the Salvador Dali, like I made like 300 prints of this thing, and I'm gonna put them in a shopping cart and sell them on the street in New York City. There's a R. Crumb made like his weird comics and he stapled them together, Xeroxed them, stapled them together, put them in a baby carriage, and sold them on Sunset. Like just wheeled the baby carriage and sold them to whoever he could. Like Tony Stark built it in a cave with a bunch of scraps. Like you gotta have that hustle. It's also hard to hustle when you have untreated mental illness. Oh, for sure. I mean, there's another reason why we need to throw out the tortured artist thing in the garbage and just get universal health care. Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you on that. I was one of the videos that got posted today in the Discord actually was a Noah Bradley video, where not only did one of the questions, it was like a Q&A thing where it was like, what should you work on as an artist to get better as an artist? And shocker, one of them was like, your business. If you lock your business down, you don't have to worry about the art. Like, or when you're worrying about the art and you don't have to worry about the business is locked down. Shocker, we're business people too. The other thing is like mental illness. That was like one of the tips, was like, you will make better art, you will think more clearly if you're not like depressed or like, you know, whatever you're going through. And if you are suffering from like any kind of like mental illness stuff, like do seek help, because it will make you a better artist, like hands down. I was making like the worst coloring of my career when I was the most depressed and didn't realize it. And I couldn't figure out how to get things to work right or look good, because I was just like in this mindset of, well, I guess this is okay. I'll send this page out and we'll get it the next time. Like, I was so down on myself that I couldn't tell that it was coming out in the work. Which I think is a real thing. I think it's a common thing, is what I mean to say. Of course it's a real thing. I experienced it. It's my experience. You guys can't invalidate that. But yeah, I think it's a common thing with artists, to feel that way. Oh, we missed this dude in the corner. I'm kind of like painting out. We should just I'm just going to deselect the smoke here. We're going to paint it in. Um, Putting down shadows isn't going to really help us. And we'll use since it's the same smoke that we have up here, we'll just use that same color. Yeah, we do need to get universal healthcare going. I agree. But yeah, so Warhol's making 1,000 prints. Dolly's making 1,000 prints. Both of them are hustling like crazy. Uh, Not only that, but like, so is it's tough because you feel a lot of us go into art because we're kind of useless at everything else. It's true. Like I wasn't a good. Don't get me wrong. I was not a good businessman when I started this gig. It was just like something that it's tough because I know a lot of artists like this that like are just like, oh, I don't want to deal with it, and then like everything else is more difficult in their life because of it. Like it doesn't have to be that difficult. I think that realizing your limitations and hiring people who are good at their job, like an accountant, like a good accountant, will help you for sure. If you guys are listening to this and you're like, I want to do this thing, but like, what are some steps? A good accountant will help you. Put you into an S corp and like manage payroll and all that. But like you got to learn this stuff along. Like I hit a point where it was like, well, like it's either this and I'm miserable, or I need to get better at this other stuff. Like I wish they taught. Oh, I didn't know that Dolly worked on movies. I'm not a huge Dolly fan, but like I like that anecdote. I remember hitting a point where it was like, I just have to get better at this stuff. I have to get better at like advertising myself. I have to get better at, like the clear level up wasn't in the work anymore. Like the work got to a place where it was like, okay, like I'm going to keep trying to level up the work, but like the next biggest step for me forward was like all the other stuff, the business, the conventions, advertising, like, and when I say advertising, I mean like my crappy jokes on Twitter. And maybe this is kind of an ad, kind of, I'm sneak advertising you guys. But, that's kind of where my headspace has been. So we just put down like a shadow on here. It's like 60. You love the crappy jokes. I just did like 60% of like a blue gray, slate gray onto this. It's just like a solid shadow. We're gonna dump it into an alpha channel too. This was the selection we just made on stream. You just watched me do this while I rambled. We're gonna select the inverse of it, and hold on. Okay, now this selection makes a little more sense because now the darks are actually dark. So let's kind of figure out what we're gonna do as far as the color theory. My impulse is to wash this with like a bluish color, or like maybe a very high blue, like rather than medium, like so like this would be like a very medium blue. We're like in the blue and we're saturated, but we're still kind of dark. This is what I'm talking about, like with a high blue, like something like this. It'll bring all the highlights up and unify the palette. But I don't know if that's necessarily what I want. Give me 1 second. Whoa. There we go. There we go. I need to look at something. Oh, good. It's all set up. I don't have to bounce around. So here's stuff that we've done on stream. Here's a bunch of stuff. And I wanted to see this other Jim Lee Batman page because basically what I don't want to do is the same thing. What I don't want to do something that's like, and this is my mentality with covers. I don't want to give someone the same cover, the same palette on the same cover over and over and over again. The reason for that is twofold. I want to keep their interest, and I want to let them know, like right off the rack, like this is a different issue. If it's a similar color scheme, potentially you run the risk of somebody being like, I think I have that at home, but I'm not sure. I don't know. And then they don't buy it. This is what we did the last time. We did like a pink yellow. And this was the night one that we did of Batman. So I kind of don't really want it to look like this at the end. But I do kind of like this. We'll safely avoid this. I don't think we're going to go this deep. All right. I think I'm oriented. Let's, just because we're like messing around, let's throw this blue right on top. Also, we're going to take the black in here, the line art basically. So now I have a layer that's just like the local color with the shadows. A layer of blue on top of that, trying to unify the palette, and then we're going to put the line art back in. We're going to take a new layer, fill it with black. Alt click the mask that we just made. Click this little button for the mask. Alt clicked it. Paste the line art in and invert it. Also, does this line art, is this looking a little gray? It is looking a little bit gray. Just a little bit. We're gonna fix that. There we go. All right. So now we can kind of mess with this. So I'm going to take, we have, what is this, 42% wash, and just kind of like push it around a little bit with the hue bar. Figure out like where we kind of want to end up. Maybe darken it. I'm not sure. We're still figuring it out. Still figuring it out. Like I said, I kind of don't want to do the blue. This is one of the things as a colorist that's a little bit frustrating. So there are days where I'm coloring something, and you might have this too, where you're throwing down color and you're like, man, this thing sings. Oh yeah, no problem, Ben. You should follow. I do this all the time. We do a coloring stream twice a week. And I work on a lot of books. They're right up there. There's a lot of times where you like throw down color and you're like, I got this thing. This is super easy. Like, no problem. And then there's like times, and I'm feeling kind of like this now, where it's like, oh God, another blue one, huh? Like as if there are an infinite amount of colors, because the reality is you're pulling from a very small pool of colors. You have like primary colors, secondary colors, and tertiary colors, and like that's about it. Like as far as just like straight up color, it's not like I don't know, like sometimes I get to the point where I'm just like, oh, we're just doing another blue one, huh? Well, all right. I don't know. It's like I kind of like this like warmer tone. Maybe we can do a little warmth in here. Hot pink. Really? You need to just get at that point? Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel. You should invent some new colors. Yeah, yeah. I'll just fix everyone's eyeballs so that they work beyond the visible spectrum. And then create dyes at the printing press to do that. I actually just recently, I don't know if this might be trash. We're looking to get right now this thing to a nice ultraviolet wash is all it needs. Yeah. Every once in a while, as an exercise to myself, I'll try to sit and think of a new color that hasn't been invented yet. It's a fun brain buster, because like you'll be so in the tank, like thinking about it. Like at least I am. I will think about it and think about it and think about it and think about it, and then I'll be like, did I find I got it? And it's like, oh, that's just maroon. Like that's not anything. What we're looking for right now is we're looking for like just a peak, like a piece of something that's just magenta. Oh, that's just brown. I just thought of brown and like patted myself on the back. We're looking for just like a glimmer of what could be, and then we'll modify it from there. Here we go. We're just doing blue again. Just doing blue. No. I say no to that. Whoo. What is this? This is like a... orange and purple, like we did last time. All right, let's buckle down. Let's quit messing around. Buckle down. About like 20% green. And then like a warmer shadow. Ooh, now we're talking. All right, I think we've started to figure it out. Maybe like a higher white. We're gonna do some like cool intense shadows. So like having a higher high is probably what we want. Trying to figure this out. And this is the thing. You got to work in big steps first. Hey, let's crank this. All right, we've cranked it up. Have you heard of the manga JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? I've heard of it, but I haven't read it. Creator's getting pretty crazy when he does the color work on his covers. It's crazy about this that none of the characters in the manga have an official palette. That's pretty great. That's really cool, actually. So color does this thing where if it's a cool color that's projecting the light in the room, the shadows will be a little bit warmer, and vice versa. So I'm just trying to like figure out exactly, like, this is why people hate purple, because it works for everything. Like maybe this blue, but we'll try to hold on to some of this weird green that's happening. I think this is where we want to be. This is where I'm locking it in, chat. Let's take the levels and just kind of like tweak it a little bit. Your friends love the anime. I know Boix, who is not here, who is a regular viewer, likes JoJo as well. So like that's a slight thing, but I kind of made it just like a little brighter. Here, I'm turning it off and on again. You can just get it in the shadows and crank up the magenta and the red. Just getting the highlights. Crank up the green just like a little bit. There we go. There we go. All right. So like this is workable. From here we can make like this isn't a finalized kind of palette, but it's like from here we can kind of like get it to a place where we want it. I kind of want to make the green smoke not green. I don't know if it's going to be like gray. Maybe just like desat it a little bit. Something like that. It's starting to look like muddy mess. The original page of this, by the way, I will say this. The original page is like super cranked down. Like it looks like this, basically. Cranked down meaning super desaturated. The original page within the context of the larger, what they're trying to achieve with the larger work is like very, very good. It's like super dreary Batman stuff and it looks fantastic. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but when you turn something down like this in Photoshop, it leans a little bit warm, so you can cool it back down, something like this. And like this looks cool, but like I want to do something a little bit different, so we're not going to do that. So I apologize if you were into that. Also, I kind of just realized that we ran over the flats. Like we no longer have the flats. So here's something that I do. So I want to preserve the flats because I want to be able to make quick selections if I need to. I try to do that on another layer. We did not do that here. We're gonna go back in time, like quite literally. So we're gonna take all like the relevant stuff that we need. We're going to select this layer. This is like all the color work. This is everything we've done, really. All of this. Select all of this. Copy it. And then just go up to the history. Go right back to the flats. Duplicate the layer so we don't lose it. We didn't end up losing it anyway. So, okay. So we still have our color job, but we gotta set up the black layer again. And that is easy enough to do. New layer, above the color. Thank you very much. Pop the mask on, paste it in, invert it, tweak the levels because we did that afterwards. There we go. And we're good to go. And we still have the flats ready to go. So the advantage of having the flats. And we have to delete the black from the flats. The advantage of having the flats is like, so I can select all of Croc, right? So now I've selected everything that's happening on here with one click, rather than trying to do 2 clicks to get both of his shades. And let alone when we start to paint, it's going to start to be like, oh, now I got to click. If I want all of Croc's skin to like tweak it a little bit, it's going to be like 40 clicks, you know? His pants are looking a little bizarre. So we're going to try to like tone it down just a little bit. Whoa. Oh, I was like tripping out because this was black, but it was still making the selection. I think it's because we filled the black with white we filled the black with black rather than white. I'm talking very fast about all this stuff. I just realized that you guys are probably, I don't know if you're struggling to follow along, but if you are, the VOD will be available. A lot of this stuff is not necessarily something that you need to know. I just wanted to tone down his pants just a little bit. Actually, we could try to match try to like make these whiter, essentially. Try to put like everybody in kind of like these white prison outfits that are like white and pink, apparently. I don't know. That doesn't look good. What if we back it up? All right. Did I not? I thought I did. I thought I put cuts on this guy. Did I not? That's weird. Oh, I deselected it because he has the same color as the... we'll select it again. Eventually. We'll get around to it. Let's just take this green and wash it. That was like 20% in there. I dig this like purple green Batman thing going on, but we got to kind of root him down in reality. There we go. The thing is about like with these washes of color that we've done, is that it'll get kind of run really rough shot over the thing, especially with an iconic character like Batman. You want Batman to look like Batman, obviously. Like, you can't necessarily, like, really run rough shot over his color scheme. Unless you have, like, a really good reason. A good reason would be, you want to, I'll focus on building your flats for the next color study. Yeah. I mean, this stuff, we're working general to specific. What we're doing right now is like trying to get this working general to specific. Like, we're doing the things that need to get like the belt was like way too bright. It was just way too bright. Like, Batman's leaning over, his legs in shadow. This belt is very bright. Down here, same thing. Down here, same thing. Like, we're just pushing it back a little bit. We're just trying to find like where we want all of these colors to like exist, so that they're not like all over the place. So it's like a little bit of washes, like 20% at a time, just to make everything kind of work all right. We are going to change these guys down here because they're starting to blend into the smoke. Oh, we've changed that guy up there too. I actually kind of like this up here. We're also going to like build, there's a lot of depth happening in the first panel. We're going to build that as best we can. All right, let's kind of figure out what we're going to do for the smoke down here. So I'm just going to grab this color, and we're going to be painting the smoke up here as well. But for right now, I'm not going to do like straight up painting, but I am going to try to do like put one color down. Basically what we did for the rest of the piece, we're going to try again down here. So we could actually maybe work the opposite way. So these two colors that I have over here are the light and shadow for the smoke, that as we have them set up right now. The challenge down here is that, so we have Croc and he's falling into the smoke, and we have characters coming out of the smoke down here, and then we have like a character down here. So as much as I want to just be like, oh, let's make sure Croc is like noticeable by like, you know, he casts a shadow on the smoke here, you know, and then there's like smoke over here or whatever, and we can kind of like frame them by like basically putting a big circle around them like this, which like kind of works, except for the fact that like these characters are in this shadow, so we got to kind of do that, but then like kind of split the difference. And put like shadow down here. By split the difference, I mean like when we get into like the actual painting, we got to like really figure out we need to really start figuring out like putting that into like a mid-tone. Because you don't want to the important part of this panel is that like Batman's getting attacked by the crowd. And if we start to lose the crowd in the shadows, it's no good. We can't actually make that work. So you want to like highlight them fighting, but you also want to be like, and the crowd is descending on Batman. Which is like kind of a tough thing to juggle here. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to keep the focus, but also kind of like tweak the fog. Now, none of the fog down here is like really drawn in. So we're left to our own devices as far as like how we solve this. Which is fine. Like this is coloring. This is like the nuts and bolts of this kind of stuff. I love trying to solve these problems. This is why I'm still doing coloring. Also out of spite. For anyone who said I couldn't do it. Spite is the motivator. You also want to like, you don't want to like overlay. I'm doing this like really zoomed out. You don't want to like overlay lines and stuff. Like you want to be careful of where you're putting the lines because you don't want to like I don't want to put a line here because then it looks like this. Like this might make sense for the smoke, but like it's resting on top of fake Robin's head. So like it doesn't make sense. We want to keep this clear. We want to keep the silhouette clear. When you start to add in shapes and stuff into the art, you have to be aware of those things because otherwise you will start to change the composition. And it's just something that you want to make like, if you're going to change the composition, which is totally fine, you want to make smart choices about it. You want to change it for the better. What's crazy about that last panel, depending on how it's colored, it almost changes the meaning. With all the villains were in shadow, it looked like Batman was fighting everyone, but now you're cleaning it up and it looks like they're attacking him. Yeah. It looks like they're like emerging. Like this is the thing. This is the narrative that we want to tell, is that like, instead of like Batman being the aggressor, I want Batman to be like, yo, he's fighting Croc, and then in the smoke, like, dudes are just coming out of the smoke to fight Batman. And like, you don't know where, like, how many there are going to be. Like, it could be 100 dudes. It could be 10 dudes. Like, it could be, you know, I don't know. Like, you want to have that like level of mystery about it. So that's what we're trying to figure out here. We're trying to like embrace that narrative. And like when you're coloring, you want to think about this stuff. Like this stuff is important. It'll lead to more successful pages if you like immerse yourself into the vibe that you want. And the narrative that you want. I think that's probably good for now. Let's do the smoke in here. Also, we got to do this shirt because apparently I'm just going to paint it in real quick. This color's fine. We apparently deselected it earlier and I did not notice, which is par for the course for this character because we almost did the same thing with his face. So maybe that's on me, chat. Maybe that's on me. All right, that's fine. That's done. We'll deselect this. Let's try to make this a little more green, but not as green as this green, so that the panels still work with each other. We're gonna paint this into a white. We're gonna end up like this smoke that is inhabiting the panels and stuff, we're going to end up messing around a lot with it to try to get it to work with everything. One of the things, what's the page size I'm doing what is the page size when you're doing coloring work for publishers? I can post that. You're in the Discord, right? I can post that in the Discord. I got to look that up. And in order to look that up, I have to like pull up a page, but, it's usually, print size, 600 DPI. So whatever print size is, I don't know what the size this is because we pulled this scan from, Berry Colors. Thank you very, very much, Berry Colors, for scanning this for us. But yeah, it's whatever the print size is for comics at 600 DPI is what I usually work in. Jeremy Hahn gives me giant pages, by the way. So in order to manage this, the reason that I put white down there, white, it's like popping off the page right now. We're going to take this smoke here and kind of fade it in the corners around here. Because we did this stuff down here too. We're goofing everything. We're gonna kind of fade it to white, so it's not gonna be as dominant or as weird as it is right now. And we're probably gonna mess with the smoke fading into white, so that it looks like he's, Batman's in the gutters here fighting with Croc. Let's add some shadow. So we want to highlight like this right here. These two characters looking at each other. So in order to do that, we're going to try to frame them up. We're going to zoom out and think about how we want to do that. Probably like this. Batman's got to cast shadow beneath him in the smoke. But like, it's probably, this is like super fast and loose. We got to deselect this white. Oh no, we're painting. Stop. There we go. It was just gut instinct. There it is again. We're painting with a third color. It's fine. We can use this third color. Yeah, so we want it kind of like that, so we can kind of go in and work on that, kind of refine it. Remember, always general to specific. If you don't have a good like general base, you kind of don't know where you're going. So you need that roadmap to figure out like where you want to end up. If you don't know where you want to end up and you're just kind of like zoomed in on these details, you're going to have a bad time. Every time, and I've said this before on stream, every time that I have not had a roadmap and I've been like, well, we'll just figure it out on the fly. Like every single time I've been like, oh, that didn't work out. Or I've been like, well, that was much harder than it should have been. To find like where the good page is in there. Roadmaps are important. We're kind of getting done with it. And again, we're making like a lot of heavy mark making, a lot of design choices in here. They're going to be a little more faded once we start to get into the actual painting of the smoke. But for now, it's like it lets us know where we want to be. Okay, bad joke. I was like, wait, is that a real question? No, that's a bad joke. Okay, all right, we're good. We're good. You also want to make sure the focus is like Croc's busted knee back here. I kind of just realized that. So we're gonna try to pull back like just a little bit. All right. I think that works. We're gonna fade it with like a little bit of white, so that we're not competing with the other colors around there. Yeah, this is starting to look good. Starting to get there. I'm gonna walk the skin tone back just a little bit. Yeah, so we're kind of starting to get there. We have a good roadmap down. We have a good, decent color scheme. I want to keep in mind, like, I really, really like this. This is like loud as shit, but like, it's kind of fun. So we're gonna try to embrace that when we start like actually painting, and like in the poles back here, it's really loud though. Maybe it's not good. Maybe we need to desaturate just a little bit, something like that. It is very loud. It is very, very loud. Okay. But I think we're starting to get there. So challenges for this piece for when we start to paint it. The first panel is probably going to be most of our problem. That's a Rico Renzi background. Yeah. It's very loud. Maybe too loud for me. So, right. We don't have to do this right now. I can stop at any time, I swear. Challenges. This first panel is like really deceptive. It's also where we're going to spend most of our time, because like we're going to spend most of our time in the smoke trying to figure that out. This panel is like zoomed out enough and sketchy enough as far as like low detail, that we can kind of like figure this out beyond the smoke pretty quickly. Same with this. We're pretty low detail. We're gonna gore up Two-Face's face, and then like figure out this punch here. But other than that, like pretty low impact as far as like where we need to spend our time. The top panel we're gonna have to spend a good bit of time in, and I'll tell you where. We have Two-Face's head is like closest to us, reading closest to furthest. Two-Face's head. Batman, maybe Batman's hand. Batman's knee and like Killer Croc are kind of in the same area. Batman's foot and the pig guy are kind of in the same area, and maybe Croc's hand. And then beyond that is like the Scarecrow guy in the mask, and then beyond that is the smoke. So there are 5 layers of depth in there, and they're gonna be a problem. They're gonna be a problem, but like we're gonna make it sing. We're gonna make it look good. This kind of stuff with overlapping elements, all on top of each other, I find super exciting. I've been doing some like weird stuff lately where I've been less, I don't know, scared of working over the line art in order to like increase that depth, in order to like really make it bombastic. So I'm excited about that, but that's going to have to wait till part 2. We're going to try to do this. My goal is to, this round, get all the color scheme stuff done, which I think we've done. And then the next time we stream this, which should be on Friday, We're gonna get into basically all the other like details, all the little nitpicky kind of stuff. We're gonna start painting the smoke. We're gonna start painting the characters. We're gonna like shuffle around Croc's skin a little bit so he feels a little scaly. Get into the depth thing. Figure all this stuff out. So I hope that you come back on Friday and see me finish coloring this. Hopefully we'll finish it in one go. I really hope we do. If it's not going to be Friday, we might stream it tomorrow, depending on my workload. We'll see what happens through today. I'm waiting on a couple things. So we'll see what happens. Until then, guys, keep making comics out there. And I'll see you for the next one. We'll finish off this Batman page, and we'll post it everywhere. It'll be great. You guys out there, keep making comics.